What's going on, folks? My name's Josh, you can call me Anorian, and today I've got another Anor of Convallaria video for you, and today it's about news. We already have something veering off from the original Taiwanese release schedule as we know it, so I want to get into it because they announced a new banner coming very soon today, and I want to talk about how it's going to work in scope versus the other banners that are available, the characters who are going to be focused on, use cases for them, and for whatnot. So let's get immediately over to that, because today's going to be a bit of a quicker video, because I just want to establish what's going on for anybody who needs to know it. So they just announced a new get-together banner with Garcia and Nungal as the feature units. This will be dropping on August 9th at midnight. So in other words, this is going to be dropping, in other words, at the beginning of the day. Or, excuse me, at 12 noon. So this will be dropping this Friday, 12 noon for Eastern time zone folks like myself, 9 o'clock in the morning for folks who are on West Coast time, and obviously you can kind of adjust as you need to, and it's going to last until the 22nd. These two will be the feature bait characters, so it will be a destined banner along the same likes as the current Coal and Barrel banner, as well as the current Samantha and Dantalion banner. Very specifically, that banner is also called a get-together banner, so it looks like these two will run concurrently for a little bit, and then the Samantha and Dantalion one will go away, because that one lasts until the 15th. This is going to follow all the same rules as the other Destined banners, so in other words, if you pull a Legendary, you have a 75% chance of it being one of these two right here on that banner. 37.5% chance of being Nungal, 37.5% chance of being Garcia. Neither of them is Tier 0 units right now, looking at things a year out. So the first question everyone's going to ask is, should I pull? And this isn't going to be, oh, this is someone who's going to be super future-proof, you have to pull them right now. But I think both of them are very cool and unique, and both of them have very specific builds and things they do that may apply to you. So the answer of should I pull is maybe. So let's get into what they each do, what they each are like as characters, and then I can kind of explain what the test cases are for both and why you might pull for them. I already have the game up. I'm using, just to make it easy so I can show the stats for both of them, I'm using the Legendary Selector, like, in the store. You can just click here and it's like, oh, what are the characters that are available? And then I can just show it to you. Because, do note, Garcia and Nungal are both already in the current existing character pool. They are not new characters. They're just being featured on this early banner. Because they are kind of pushing things quickly to catch us up with Taiwan, I wouldn't be shocked if the idea is they're going to kind of rotate a few extra banners like this in to give people more chances to try and go after some of these earlier characters at featured pull rates. So let's look at Nungal first, because I have a lot more I can say about Garcia since I have first-hand experience. With Nungal, her whole idea is she is got this, like, sniper crossbow thing. She is a destroyer type character, okay? But she has a very unique statistical profile compared to other destroyers. First, let's talk about her allegiances. She is part of the Iria group, so that means Dantalion, if you've got him. She's going to be in the same group there, and Dantalion does have a great leadership aura. That is something to consider. Rawia, Fekal, and Mytha, all three benefit from being part of Iria. Inanna's part of Iria. There's a lot of great units. Even as far as the epics, you've got Crimson Falcon, so they got a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot to consider. She does benefit from that. If you're looking to make an Iria group, she is 100% going to be a unit you should consider pulling for that reason. She also is in the Alacrity group, which once again has Rawia, but it has Lilywil, it has Iggy, it's got Cole, and then her and her brother Nurgle, as well as Fekal, and then a few other assorted epics. Again, this is just a situation where it's like, if you know you want to build one of those two teams, in both cases, I would recommend pulling for Nungal. She's going to be one of the better characters in either group. Now, what does Nungal actually do? She is a ranged character. She's an archer. But she has an attack-based build, but her trait is Luxite Crossbow, which changes her physical damage into magical damage. So it makes even her basic physical attack a magical attack. This sounds kind of weird, but it does have a very specific test use I'll get into, but first I want to finish reading the trait. For each one tile between her and the target, and this is the base level version, distance for adjacent tiles counts as 0. So if she's right in melee with someone, it's 0, so she's got to have at least one tile gap. Damage increases by 3% up to 30%. And if she does not move before attacking, her maximum range increases by one tile. At max level, that ends up turning into 2, she has an automatic 15% chance to crit higher than normal. For each 1 tile between her and the enemy, not counting the melee tile, it's a 5% boost. And whenever she attacks an enemy at 5 tiles or further away, she ignores their reaction skills, preempt, and strike back. So they cannot react to her in any way. Her whole thing is she is a stationary sniper. She doesn't have a ton of move. She has her basic shot, and then she has a powerful shot at base, which is just, it deals 130% damage. If she's attacking a target at closer to full health, she gets an additional damage boost. But later on, she gets stuff like Sniping Stance. It is an instantly activatable support skill. It does cost 1 energy and have a 3-turn cooldown, but you can activate it and turn it off basically in addition to other things. Like, this does not take up your turn. So she can activate it and still attack in a turn if you have the energy to work with. And it switches her to Sniping Stance. What Sniping Stance does is it increases the range of all her moves by 2 tiles, and it increases her attack and crit rate by 15%, but she can't move. So she's supposed to be a stationary sniper, so she has a skill she can turn on to increase her range, which then her trait makes it so the further she's away from enemies, the higher her damage is. So you see how these feed into each other. Also, if she doesn't move, she gets an additional range bonus. So the idea is that essentially, whenever she is getting the chance, you want her to plant down and then start shooting things. Some of her other standout abilities. She has Marking Bullet. This replaces... this is an ability that she can throw out. It replaces her basic attack. It's one of her selectable abilities on her skill tree, so you may not necessarily choose it. But if you do choose it, essentially it makes it so her single target attack deals its decent damage, but lowers the opponent's ability to move, and also gives them the Hanged Man's Mark. Several characters have effects that trigger off the Hanged Man's Mark. The Hanged Man's Mark does not itself debuff an enemy, but there are a lot of characters who it's like, if you hit an enemy who has Hanged Man's Mark on them, it deals 10% extra damage. It inflicts a debuff. It inflicts a status effect. So she can feed in. A lot of area units do that. So Nightblade, for instance, does it. If you're looking at, is it Nightblade? It's Candlelight, excuse me. And then, is it Night Raven? Not Nightblade, Night Raven. But several of them trigger abilities off of Hanged Man's Mark. So that's why you would want that. Additionally, she's got Sense of Purpose. Whenever she's attacking enemies who have that, increases her crit rate by 30% and crit damage by 30%, and she recovers 1 NRG, one of her usable energy, whenever she lands a critical hit. So she can benefit off it herself after she already inflicts it. But if you've got other people using Hanged Man's Mark, again, you see how you could build a team there. And then her big ability is Deadly Aim. Essentially, it's a huge range shot. She has to stay stationary, and then it takes a turn before it actually shoots. So she sets up, and then next turn it goes off. But if you have Inanna, you can use Inanna's ability to refresh her instantly, and that'll make it so that she then gets to shoot it then. Or she does have one of her top-end abilities, Quick Reload, gives her a big energy boost and reduces her skill cooldowns. But for 3 turns, it doesn't need to prepare. So for the next 3 turns after you use Quick Reload, she can just auto-fire that sucker for a big 160% damage, not counting the crit rate boost, not counting the damage bonus from her traits. So again, her whole thing is she is a stationary sniper, and she's a destroyer. And because she is an attack-based build, as a destroyer, it means, let's just say you're also using someone like Beryl. They're not competing for the same weaponry, right? Beryl's going to be using mage weapons. She's going to be using bows, and she doesn't need any sort of specialty mage gear to fulfill that role. So if you're also using someone like, say, Faye Call, they can use the same sort of weapon, and you can swap them in and out of the party. Now, obviously, this does create a conflict if you want to run both of them, but if you're talking about roading her alongside another destroyer, she is not competing for the same gear, which is a really, really nice touch for that. So essentially, if you are planning on running an area team, if you have Inanna and you want a really strong destroyer, especially later on, if you are planning on running multiple destroyers and you like the idea of having them not compete for the same gear, all of those would be reasons to pull for Nungal. She is a great character there. The other one is Garcia. I already have Garcia. I freaking love Garcia. I'm going to be speaking very highly of her. She is considered lower mid-tier by most tier lists, even my own. Having played with her a lot, I would move her up to mid-tier, if not the higher end of mid-tier. She is a damage machine. As far as her groups, Garcia is part of the Papal States. So, right now, that includes Beryl, that includes Cole, that includes Samantha, that includes Leonide, that includes Miguel. It includes several units you get for free, including Angel and Suppression, which are very important to note. But down the line, we have Karis coming. There are some good, powerful Papal States characters. If you're running a Papal States team, I would 1000% recommend going for Garcia. She also goes with Fortitude. That means Gloria. That means Dantalion. That means Magnus. That means a lot of really powerful characters. So again, if you're going to run a Fortitude team, she might well be the best Seeker you could get for that team. So it's something to consider. Garcia's whole shtick is she is a character who gets stronger the longer the battle goes on. Her trait is called Executioner. At base, at the start of the turn, she gets 1 stack of rotational acceleration, and at most she can have 6 stacks. When she hits 3 stacks, she increases her crit by 15%. What rotational acceleration does is it increases her attack and defense by 4% per stack. Eventually, when you get her up to the highest levels, she can go up to 9 stacks. When she hits 3 stacks, she gets a 30% crit rate boost. When she hits 6 stacks, she gets a 30% crit damage boost. If she hits 9 stacks, she ignores block as an ability entirely, so like defenders especially can't just block her, and 40% of a target's existing defense, and she also starts with 2 stacks at the start of the battle. Now, her base attack is just normal affair. Her standout early ability is Execution Time. It's a powerful attack, and it gives her an additional 1 stack of rotational acceleration. If she already has 6 stacks before using the attack, she gets a huge damage buff. Basically, her whole idea is things like Painful Cutting. It turns her regular attack into 33% damage attacks, but if she's attacking anyone who is injured, so 70% health or lower, she gets a big crit boost. And since you're splitting up the attacks, that means you're more likely to inflict a crit. She gets Hidden Executioner. I would focus on Spinning Blade. Basically, it is like the hook pull type ability, but she deals damage in the process, and she recovers energy if she kills an enemy while using it. She has Taste of Blood, which is an instant support. Basically, dispels debuffs, gives her a quick heal, and increases her attack and defense. Again, plenty of good abilities. She also has the regular hook ability that a couple of different Seekers have that acts as an instant ability, so you can hook, drag an enemy to you, and then attack them in the same turn. Garcia is a damage nova. It just takes you a couple turns to get there. Basically, her whole thing is the longer a battle lasts, the more dangerous she gets offensively and defensively. Because she can get up to 9 stacks of rotational acceleration. That is 36% more defense for nothing. Like, she is actually relatively survivable as a Seeker character. So if you're running a Papal States team, you probably want to get Garcia. If you're running a Fortitude team, you almost definitely want to get Garcia. And if you just want a really good Seeker, and for whatever reason you don't want to run the current meta, you don't want Cole, something like that, Garcia is another excellent character. She's also very, very fun on the battlefield. Like, the Execution Time ability looks dope as hell. I just love her animations and things like that. That's personal. I like her design. I'm really, really glad I pulled her. But just in general, that is where she lies. Again, she is a lower-end tier unit. If you're looking for meta, this isn't what you want to get. But if you're looking for someone who's going to be able to use all those dagger weapons really effectively, and especially if you want to build a Papal States team, knowing down the line Karis is a very good character and things like that, she's probably going to be someone you want to pull. So that's where I'm at as far as the pulls go. If you are looking to build a Papal States team or a Fortitude team, I would definitely grab Garcia. If you were looking to build an Iria team or an Alacrity team, I would probably grab Nungal. If you are not already specifically considering grabbing either of, or focusing on either of those teams, then it basically comes down to, do you think they look really cool and really love the idea of their playstyle? Because otherwise, you would probably want to skip. That would be my effective assessment on it. But please let me know, do you have either of them already? Do you plan on rolling for either of them? Give me a like if you liked the video. Leave a comment on letting me know about that. Let me know if you like them, if you plan to roll for them, anything like that. And obviously subscribe if you want to see more. I'm really excited to see what everyone does. I will probably have my first of my roll videos coming out by this weekend, but as soon as I saw this news coming down the pipeline, I just wanted to record something real quick. Thank you all so very much for hanging out with me. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I thank y'all. Till next time, I'll catch you later, fam.